So on last night's episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, full disclosure, I love John Oliver. He actually talks about kidney dialysis and the American healthcare system in regards to kidney dialysis. And as I've said in a previous video, my mother actually had kidney disease. And so my mother went to dialysis 3 times a week, and it would be 3 or 4 hours at a time. And it's an exhausting procedure. And what really bothered me about the information he was giving us was the idea that people were being talked out of transplants. Here in Canada, it was always dialysis was a stopgap until you could get a transplant. As long as you stayed healthy enough to get a transplant, it was just assumed that you would get a transplant. It wasn't like, you just decide to stay on dialysis. Like, dialysis is not a fun procedure. It's exhausting. And it isn't equivalent to having a kidney. Your kidneys are incredibly important. And if they're not functioning properly, you're kind of in a bad position. Like you don't want that. So the idea that people weren't being given the proper information, and especially in healthcare, that's what pisses me off so much. Like we are in a time where you can get information it's at your fingertips, right? Like, we walk around with computers in our pockets, like information right there, and it just blows my mind. But then the idea that healthcare professionals aren't giving people proper information infuriates me. So that was something in the segment that really, really got to me, that, people were being talked out of getting transplants. Like, that just seemed crazy to me, because they do it to make money. Like, that's disgusting. Disgusting. And the second thing that really bothered me, not that there wasn't a lot that bothered me, but these were the 2 things that really stood out, was they were talking about how they would rush people through and they wouldn't always disinfect the equipment properly. And that just boiled my blood. My mother actually died of a blood infection. And that's the thing with kidney dialysis is, if the equipment isn't cleaned properly, it's not like you get like a rash. Like, the infection gets into their blood and it poisons them, because not only do they get the infection, but they don't have kidneys to help clean out the infection. So when my mother died, she had spots on her legs the size of, dessert plates that were necrotic. They were completely black and necrotic. She had no idea who we were. The last time I saw my mother, it was about a year before she died. I just wouldn't. I couldn't. She had no idea who I was, and she was hallucinating. And it just, and they kept her, and that was the thing. Like, they were able to keep her alive, but what kind of life was it? And she would come in and out. Like, I know the last few times my dad went and saw her, like, she was somewhat lucid, but she was so tired and so weak, she couldn't lick her own lips. Like, they had a little sponge on a stick and a cup of water, and my dad would have to wet her lips, or a nurse would have to come in every once in a while and wet her lips. She couldn't lick her own lips. So that's got to, like, it's, so to tell people not to get transplants and to tell people, or to not disinfect the equipment, like, fuck you. That's, like, I couldn't believe it. And it really got me thinking about how healthcare shouldn't be run like a business. Healthcare, we live in a day and age, and we live in an advanced enough society that healthcare should be a universal right. Education should be a universal right. This is fucking ridiculous. We're better than this. We should be better than this. And we shouldn't be looking at people as being other. Well, it's not my problem, it's his problem. No. If we want a better society, if we want a better world, We need to look out for each other. And this kind of behavior from companies trying to make money on the sick and the dying needs to stop. Because we deserve better as people, and we deserve better for our social conscience. We really do. This is disgusting and deplorable, and these people should be ashamed of themselves. And the guy they showed from the company that runs these clinics, dressing up like he's a character from the Man in the Iron Mask, which actually I really like that movie. Sorry, but it's insulting, right? Like, he's getting rich off people being sick, and he's doing gymnastics in a Three Musketeers costume on stage. Like, it just, but yeah, that's my opinion. Feel free to comment, like, share, do whatever it is we do with these videos. Check out my Instagram and my Twitter at Hamtaro Girl. Check out my blog, Musings of Hamtaro Girl, and until next time.